In this tutorial, let's pick back up with our Tinley Xeriscapes example. The last change we made was printing the text plant choices to the page. As we can see, however, when we click the plant names on the left, they're not yet active. We'll want to add a link from our web page to another so that when the user clicks plant choices, they'll be taken to usda.gov. And we'll want to modify the page so that pictures of the plants appear when a user clicks the plant names. Step 1. Adding the hyperlink. Return to the HTML document in your text editor. Finding the document.write method we included before to display the text plant choices. Let's link that text plant choices to the usda.gov webpage. To do so, include an opening A tag followed by its href attribute. The A tag is used to create hyperlinks, and the value of the href attribute indicates to which page we wish to link. Here, let's assign the value of the href attribute to be http://usda.gov. Enclose the name of the web page to which you are linking in single quotes, and close off that opening A tag. Then include a closing tag right after the text plant choices. Save the document in your text editor and return to your web browser to view the results of those changes. Let's refresh the page. Here we can see the text plant choices now contains a hyperlink. When we click it, as expected, we're taken to the usda.gov homepage. Step 2. Defining variables. First, let's declare 3 variables to store the image src values of the plant pictures. The src attribute tells the browser where to look for external files, like the image files for the different types of plants we'll be displaying. To get started, create a new document and save it as plants.js. Make sure to save plants.js to the same folder that contains plants.htm. In plants.js, we'll define variables containing the image src values. We'll start with var blanket equals images / blanket.jpg, followed by var bluestem equals images / bluestem.jpg, followed by var rugosa equals images / rugosa.jpg. Once you're done declaring those 3 variables, save the changes. This JavaScript source code shows 3 variables being declared and initialized to their respective values. In step 3, let's add the src attribute to the image element. returning to plants.htm, find the figure element, which is used to define illustrations, photos, and diagrams in a web page. Immediately before the Fig Caption Opening tag, type the following: image src equals, and then a number sign in quotes, followed by width equals, and then 640 in quotes, height equals 400 in quotes, alt equals just an empty set of quotes, title equals, again, empty quotes, and ID equals plant image in quotes. The img element is an empty element, so there's no need for a closing tag. Here's our finished img element. This image element sets the size of the image to have width 640 pixels, height 400 pixels, and to have the ID attribute refer to a specific element elsewhere, as we'll see in a few minutes. The src attribute is set to the number sign here. The number sign will be replaced with our variable names based upon which image the user clicks. Let's take care of that now in the next step. Step 4. Adding the onClick attribute to the list elements. Locate the aside element. The aside element in HTML is used to set apart a section of the page, like a menu, from the rest of the page's content. The UL element in HTML represents an unordered list of items. That is, items with no numerical ordering. The LI element in HTML represents an item in a list. Let's add the onClick attribute to these list items. Starting with the blanket flower, add the onClick attribute using the following code. In the opening tag, include onClick equals document dot get element by ID and as an argument to this method, plant image, followed by .src equals blanket. Next, add the onClick attribute for the next item in the list, the hedgerows. In the opening li tag, include once again onClick equals document dot get element by ID, passing in plant image as the argument to that method, followed by .src equals rugosa. Next up, add the onClick attribute to the little blue stem list item. Following the same process, within the opening li tag, include onClick equals document dot get element by ID plant image dot src equals blue stem. Here are the new li elements after we make those changes. Save the document. But before we can view it in a web browser, we need a way for plants.htm and the JavaScript code in plants.js to communicate with one another. Immediately before the closing body tag, add an opening script tag, including the src attribute, with the value plants.js, followed by a closing script tag. Doing so will allow the plants.htm document to communicate with the plants.js document and resolve the variable names defined in plants.js. Let's save the changes in our text editor and return to our web browser to view them. Here, when we refresh the page and click the plant names on the left, we can see the images appearing in our web page. Let's validate our HTML document. The instructions to do so can be found on page 54 of your book. In your web browser, open the W3C Markup Validation Service page at http://validator.w3.org. Click the Validate by File Upload tab and select your plants.htm file. Since the publication of this book, there have been changes that will affect the starter code files that we've been using. The changes that we made on our own won't be affected, but some of the code that came with the book has actually changed, and so when we click check, we will expect to see a few errors for those portions of code. As we can see, the validation service returns 3 errors. If we found errors in the portions that we wrote on our own, then we would want to go back and make modifications to prevent those errors from occurring. However, the errors that we see are based on the original source code, and so we'll leave them as is for now.